For the first time ever, Social Security spending tops $1 trillion. Look at that. It could be why so many Americans are frustrated how the government is spending their money. A new Fox News poll finds 89% of Americans are very or somewhat frustrated with the way the government spends tax dollars. So what do we do to stop this vicious cycle of spending? Let's talk to Fox News legal analyst and the host of The Property Man, Bob Massi, joins us from Las Vegas. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Steve.
Do you think that the average American is frustrated with the amount of money spent on Social Security? Because I think most Americans feel like whatever we put into that, we should be able to draw from that account when we retire.
Yeah, I mean, every time I listen to the Pelosi and Schumer about this tax reform, and then I look at these numbers, I say, what are we going to do in this situation? We, the baby boomers, what are we leaving behind for our children and grandchildren?
Right.
Of course we're frustrated. I remember that movie, Dave, Steve, whenever,
Sure.
He brought in his buddy was a CPA, and they went through and said, well, what about this? What about this? I mean, at some point, when do we look at this and say enough is enough? We can't keep spending this because what's going to happen to the generations behind us? It's hard to believe that it's gotten this out of hand.
Sure. And the impetus for that particular poll was the fact that as Congress starts to do something about taxes in this country, it's like we spend so much on taxes, so much out of our pocket. And yet when Washington, D.C. winds up with the money, whatever the amount is, they spend that and then they spend even more.
Most people who have been blessed that have to pay taxes, we don't mind. What we mind is the way that it's expended, what it's spent on. You and I both know, Steve, there are people in this country that have basically been dealt a bad deal in life.
Sure.
Those people deserve certain type of entitlements and help from the government, no question. But there are those who now have become so codependent on welfare, and there's no impetus to work. Those are the people that offends us and want them to get to work, and that's why this tax reform is going to force some of these things. This idea about how the middle class is going to get ripped off is just, you get so tired of the same rhetoric that it's time for somebody to step up and say, look, let's look at where this money's being spent. Let's look at the surpluses and use the taxes for the right reason. And that's why we shouldn't be in this spot.
But isn't that one of the things the President of the United States, Donald Trump, is doing right now? He's looking at various programs and he's saying, we don't need the bureaucracy to be as big. We can streamline. We don't need as many federal employees. We can cut regulations, all that stuff.
Look, Obama was pretty smart in that the reason he got reelected for many reasons is he federalized the country. These people weren't going to fire their employer that end up getting checks every month. So he's pretty smart in that regard. So anytime you start hearing about what you just said, the immediate reaction is, well, we don't care. He wants to give it back to the states. Let the state of Nevada decide, the state of California, let the states decide some of these issues and quit spending all this Social Security money.
All right, Bob, take a nap because you're working tonight. Property Man's going to air Fridays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, right over there on our sister network, Fox Business. Thank you very much, Bob.